turtwig relies on photosynthesis to strengthen its body. Grottle carries a miniature forest on its back wherever it goes. Small Pokémon often build their nests on the immobile Torterra's back. The agile Chimchar scales steep cliffs with its fiery tail, lighting the way. Monferno uses the ceilings of the forest to launch surprise attacks. Infernape possesses a unique fighting style, involving all its limbs. Piplup is proud and hates to accept food from others. Prinplup prefers a solitary life and rarely forms groups. The leader Empoleon can slice through ice drifts with its steel wings. Starly is weak alone, so it forms large flocks for protection. Staravia recognizes its own territory and fights intruders fiercely. Staraptor has savage nature and will courageously challenge larger foes. Bidoof has nerves of steel and is essentially unperturbed by anything. Bibarel builds dams using mud and bark to create its nest. Kricketot communicates by shaking its head and hitting its antennae together. Cricketune creates melodies by rubbing its knife-like arms across its chest. When sensing danger, Shinx makes its fur glow to dazzle opponents. Luxio gathers with others of its kind to generate powerful electricity with its claws. Luxray has eyes that can see through walls to spot hiding prey. Sensitive to temperature, Budew keeps its bud closed during the cold winter. The beautiful Roserade lures prey with a sweet aroma before using toxic whips. Cranidos lived in jungles and used its iron hard skull to snap trees. The skull of Rampardos is thick enough to withstand any impact. Shieldon was protected from enemies by its incredibly hard facial hide. Bastiodon line up side by side to form an impenetrable wall against attacks. To protect itself from the cold, Burmy creates a cloak from nearby materials. Wormadam's appearance changes permanently depending on where it evolved. Mothium loves honey and often steals it from the nests of Combay. The trio of Combee work together to collect nectar for their queen. Vespiquen commands her grubs to fight for her while she remains safe. Pachirisu stores static electricity in its cheek pouches to share with others. Boisel spins its two tails like a screw to swim through water. Floatzel acts as a rescue worker, carrying people on its flotation sack. The small ball on Cherubi contains nutrients needed for evolution. Cherim waits quietly as a bud, only opening its petals in strong sunlight. Shellos is a sea slug Pokémon that changes color depending on its diet and habitat. Gastrodon has a pliable body without bones, allowing it to recover from injuries quickly. Ambipom uses its two dexterous tails for everything, leaving its actual hands unused. Drifloon floats aimlessly with the wind and is often mistaken for a balloon. Drifblim drifts through the sky at dusk, carrying drowsy passengers to unknown destinations. When sensing danger, Buneary unrolls its curled ear to strike the enemy. Lopunny is extremely cautious and will bound away with light steps if it senses danger. The incantations chanted by Mismagius can cause headaches or hallucinations. Honchkrow is a merciless boss who commands a flock of Murkrow to do its bidding. Glameow hides a spiteful nature behind its beautiful looks and purrs when pleased. Purugly is a brazen Pokémon that will claim another's nest as its own. Chingling emits a high-frequency cry by vibrating the orb inside its mouth. Stunky sprays a foul fluid from its rear that smells for 24 hours. Skuntank sprays a poison fluid that smells worse the longer it is allowed to ferment. Bronzor are often found in ancient tombs, and their structure remains a mystery. Ancient people revered Bronzong as a bringer of plentiful harvest through rain. Bonsley looks like a plant, but it is actually a rock that hates water. Mime Jr. mimics the movements of others to confuse them while it escapes. Happiny carries a round white stone in its pouch to imitate Chansey. Chatot can mimic human speech perfectly by arranging its tongue feathers. Spiritomb is actually a collection of spirits bound to a fissure in an odd keystone. Geibel lives in geothermal caves and loves to bite anything that moves. Gabite loves shiny things and hoards gemstones in its nest like a dragon. When Garchomp folds its body and flies, it rivals the speed of a jet fighter. Munchlax hides food under its long fur, though it often forgets where it is. Riolu has a body that is lithe yet tough enough to run all through the night. By catching the aura emanating from others, Lucario can read their thoughts and movements. Hippopotas shuts its nostrils tight when traveling through sand to prevent it from entering. Hippowdon creates massive sandstorms by blasting sand from the ports on its body. Skorupi grips prey with its tail claws and injects poison, waiting for it to weaken. Drapion has a body encased in a sturdy shell and can crush a car with its claws. The poison sacs on the cheeks of Croagunk make an eerie sound when expanded. The knuckle claws of Toxicroak secrete a toxin so vile that even a scratch can be fatal. Carnivine binds itself to trees in marshes and waits for prey with its mouth wide open. The line running down the side of Finian stores sunlight to shine vividly at night. Lumineon lives in the deep sea and uses its flashing lights to lure prey. Needs the help of a Remoraid to evolve, Mantike is a friendly ocean dweller. In the spring, berries with the texture of frozen treats grow around Snova's belly. Abermasnow appears when snow flowers bloom and retreats to isolated mountains when they fall. Weavile travel in packs, communicating with claw marks to coordinate attacks on prey. Magnezone emits a magnetic field so strong that it attracts other steel Pokémon. Lickilicky has a tongue that can extend to great lengths and is covered in numbing saliva. Rhyperia can fire rocks from its palms like missiles to repel enemies. Tangrowth ensnares prey by extending its vines, which grow back immediately if cut. Electivire pushes the tips of its tails against the foe to discharge over 20,000 volts. Magmortar blasts fireballs of over 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit from the ends of its arms. Togekiss visits peaceful regions and showers them with gifts. Yanmega creates shockwaves by beating its wings. Leafeon performs photosynthesis like a plant, surrounding itself with clean air. Glaceon can freeze its fur into sharp needles to fire at enemies. Gliscor flies soundlessly through the night to capture prey with its tail claws. Mamoswine has been dug up from ice that is 10,000 years old. Porygon Z was programmed to travel alien dimensions, but the software contained a glitch. Gallade is a master of courtesy and swordsmanship, fighting only to protect others. Probopass controls 3 small units called mini-noses, using magnetic force. The antenna on Dusknoir's head receives radio waves from the spirit world. Frozelas freezes its prey with breath of negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit and displays them secretly. Rotom has a body made of plasma and can infiltrate electronic devices to cause havoc. Uxie can wipe out the memory of those who see its eyes. Mesprit is the being of emotion and taught humans the nobility of sorrow and joy. Azelf sleeps at the bottom of a lake to keep the world in balance. Dialga controls the flow of time. It is said that time moves when its heart beats. Palkia has the ability to distort space and lives in a gap in the spatial dimension. Heatran's body is made of rugged steel, but it is partially melted by its own intense heat. Legend states that Regigigas towed continents with ropes to form the geography of the world. Giratina was banished for its violence and gazes upon the old world from the distortion world. Holding a feather from Cresselia is said to bring happy dreams. Phione drifts in warm seas and always returns to the place of its birth. Manaphy has the wonderful power to bond with any kind of Pokémon. Darkrai causes nightmares to protect itself, but it means no harm. Shaman can dissolve toxins in the air to transform ruined land into a lush field of flowers. It is told in mythology that Arceus was born